So now let's look at thoughts about doership. So in this person that arises, this person assumes that it's the doer. And I think this is one of the primary thoughts which creates the most suffering. I mean, actually, the first thought is that you're separate, so that's the main thought that causes suffering. But then another big thought is that you are a doer. And this also creates a lot of suffering. So when I was studying with Ramesh and Roger, their philosophies were that doership, I don't exactly buy into this and prescribe that's why I don't teach it, but I think it's a good place to start, and something that creates good reflection, and I think it's really good to explore. So so with Ramesh, he used to say that doership created pride, shame, so they used to be an opposite, so pride and shame, guilt and blame, and expectation. And these were the 5 dynamics that created suffering in humans. And I think that when you really explore them, they do create a lot of suffering. But I think that from my experience, and I can only talk from my experience, that it's actually important to experience every emotion on the human level. So after awakening, like for me, I still have these feelings. So if I ran over somebody's cat, I would still feel a sense of remorse, or a sense of, maybe not guilt like before, but there would be a sense of sadness. And there can still be an expectation, like if I'm going with friends on holiday, then there's an expectation that that's going to happen. But they go pretty quickly. So if I have these feelings, they change or transform quite quickly. But that's not the point of what your emotions are and what you're looking to be, because that would be forming another identity. The idea, I never feel guilt again, or I never feel expectation, or I never feel blame. But it's good to explore these dynamics. So I found it really helpful because I had I think I had a lot of blame and guilt going on. Not so much of the other ones, but predominantly blame and guilt. So I could easily blame the outside world, so that society's corrupt, or that this person's corrupt, or that men have done this to women, or whatever it was, or in personal relationships, I could keep it in, so I would store it in, and then I would erupt in lots of blame or lots of anger towards someone. And the thoughts tended to be based around the idea and the assumption that I'm an individual and that they're an individual, and a belief that that's true. A belief that I am guilty, or that they are really guilty, like somebody else could actually choose to behave differently, or that I could choose to behave differently. Obviously, the idea of choice is really important. So it's important that we feel like we've got choice. So when you're buying a product, you feel like you can choose between different products, and this helps our brain and our body make the most informed decision. So it's important that we have the appearance of choice, but actually whatever the outcome is of that choice is down to life's will. Like, we never know what's going to happen. We never know the outcome of our choices. And the same with blame, like blaming another person. Like, really, everybody's innocent. There's nobody to blame. It doesn't mean that you don't assert boundaries and you don't say, you've behaved like that and that's inappropriate. But it's not this energetic attachment to it. Some people, after years and years of believing they're a person, I noticed, have like so much hatred in them, and the hatred forms from this idea that they're guilty or that somebody else is guilty, which is a complete fallacy. And in a way, it's never ending, because the person will never be able to get to the end of their guilt because it's a habit that arises, or they'll never be able to get to the end of their blame. Like it's always going to be there manifesting that somebody's responsible, that you're responsible, that you've done something wrong. Whereas how can any of us be any different from what we are in the moment? We're an accumulation of billions of factors, and we're coming to this moment and then acting it out. And that's beautiful. That's free.